What more can you tell us about why Red Bull have taken this decision?
Well, I think it's more or less a performance decision, performance based. But of course, you have to keep in mind what happened the last 18 months or so in between Red Bull and Red Bull Austria. Of course, it's a decision from the mother company, Red Bull GmbH, which is stayed in Austria. And of course, Christian Horner was cleared last year after the allegations, but still you felt there was a little of a power struggle going on there, and you see that it's still the peace is not there yet. So I think they also made the decision to maybe bring the peace back in the team, back between Austria and England, where the factory is based, of course. And of course, there's a lot of troubles, a lot of doubts about the performance of the car. You see, Verstappen is performing quite well in this car still. He's number 3 in the championships at the drivers, but you see the second driver first lost, and then Tsunoda struggling big time. They only collected 7 points, and you saw already Sergio Perez struggled last year as well. They extended his contract in June, and then at the end of the season they had to buy him out of his contract. So I think there are more decisions, bad decisions from Horner maybe, that they think, okay, now it's time to move on, to make the decision. But I think the last couple of weeks, of course, the home race for Red Bull in Austria was a disaster. Then the race in England, Silverstone, wasn't good. So that didn't help for sure. But I think I cannot see that this decision only is made because of the last 2 weeks.
There have been numerous reports of a fallout between Horner and the Verstappens last season. Has that relationship ever truly recovered?
Well, if you are in a marriage, of course, you don't have to be on speaking terms every day, every hour. But it's. I think it's good to have a good relationship. But if the car is good, like in 23, they won almost every race. And then also you heard the first stories that there was a bit of a power struggle. Dietrich Mateschitz, the man from Austria who built the team, he died at the end of 22. And then, of course, in 23, you heard already stories that Christian Horner was trying to get a bit more power. But then in 23, they won almost everything, and it was a big success. And then I think the relationship between Max and Christian Horner was not as bad as we think. But of course, the father of Verstappen, Jos, his relationship with Christian Horner was not as good as it was in the past. But I think at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. It matters how the relationship between the driver and the team principal is, and if the car is performing. And of course, that wasn't the case. But I think for Christian Horner, for the people around him, but also for a lot of people in the team and outside the team, the followers in the media, I think this is a big shock that this decision came at this point, 2 weeks before the last 2 races before the summer break, and also 6 months before the new regulations come in the sport with the new engine, and Red Bull is building their own engine for the first time ever.
Eric, I mean, you mentioned Jos Verstappen. There were reports of issues with him, obviously, and Horner after last week's British Grand Prix. Is there any truth in that?
I didn't see it myself, but what you heard is that Jos Verstappen had a argument with the head of PR, the head of comms at Red Bull, and that Christian Horner came into that later in the conversation. But what I heard, it was not the friendliest conversation ever. Let's put it that way. But I think you already get signals the last weeks a bit that there was maybe something going on at Red Bull, that the Thai shareholder Shalem Jovija was the guy who supported Christian last year, the whole year, also with all the allegations, but that he at some point also has doubts about his leadership after more than 20 years. So and then the Austrians, it was quite clear what they wanted, and then Oliver Minslav, the sports boss, if you can say it like that, from Red Bull, make the final call to make this hard decision. But the thing is that Red Bull, apart from the statement they released, that they didn't give us any more details about why this decision has been made.
So with the picture you've just painted for us now, do you think Horner's departure can be viewed as the Verstappens winning this power struggle at Red Bull?
Well, what I sense is a bit because you get now a lot of reports and people thinking, okay, Horner is out, so that means Verstappen will stay. I don't think it's that obvious, that clear. I think what for the Verstappens is the most important is that the team is making steps with the car. They have a lot of problems with this car, and you cannot think, okay, we sack or send away the team principal and the CEO, and the car is suddenly quicker. So that issue is still there. So they want more performance, and then they can make the decision: is this our team for the future? Yes or no. But I think this decision has been made to get more peace in the team, but also maybe to say to Verstappen, okay, maybe this is for you a good moment to stay. But then still, if the car is not good this year and also not next year, then I think it doesn't have anything to do with Verstappen's future. So I think we know in like between now and a month if he will stay or if he go to Mercedes. And I don't think what you can say is that this decision will put Verstappen in the decision to say I will leave the team for sure. Maybe it gives him a better chance, or Red Bull a better chance to keep him in the team, but that's not a guarantee at this moment.
Yeah, you've basically answered what I was going to ask you next. Will this keep him at Red Bull? I know there's been a lot of speculation about his future, especially linking him to Mercedes next season. You've given us a kind of time frame. Will you just repeat that? I think you said in the next month or so we should know.
Yeah, we have 2 more races to go till the summer break. I think he wants to have a decision made, and also Toto Wolff, who is interested, wants to have a decision made before the first race after the summer break in the Netherlands, in Zandvoort. I think we know more for sure by then. What is clear is that Verstappen has doubts about his future at Red Bull, because otherwise he would have said already in the press, I will stay for sure. I have a contract till 28 and I will stay for sure with this team for next year. So he keep his option open, and I think he will make up his mind this month. There are 2 weeks to go before the summer break, so he has a lot of time to think and also to see how the car is performing in Spa and in Hungary the week after.
Now let's talk about Horner's replacement, Laurent Mekies. What can you tell us about him? And can you tell us whether Verstappen will be happy about his appointment? What's your feeling?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, they didn't work with him yet. Of course, he worked at the sister team Racing Bulls. I think they are happy someone is coming into the team which already knows the team and the company Red Bull. And Mekies did great work till now at Racing Bulls since he was appointed there the beginning of last year. He's a quiet guy. If you speak with people who work with him, they are all very positive about him. So for him, it's a big promotion, of course, and also a big task to keep the peace in the team and to bring the team forward. But we don't have to underestimate the legacy Christian Horner has in the team after more than 20 years and all the success he had. So I think it's not the easiest job in Formula One, to put it mildly. But the people you hear about him and speaking about him very positive. And I think the Verstappens think this is a good decision as well. To put him in this role. Last year, you heard the names of Mattia Binotto, maybe as a replacement for Christian Horner and Ollie Oakes, but Binotto is now at Sauber, who become Audi next year, and Ollie Oakes, of course, resigned for Alpine for his personal reasons earlier this year. So that were not the most realistic options for now. So I think everyone thinks if you make this decision to get rid of Christian Horner, this is a quite a logical option.
As you mentioned there, he spent 20 years at Red Bull. That is Christian Horner. We're all just kind of coming to terms with this breaking news. He's had hugely successful times at the team. Can you sum up his impact both at Red Bull and in the sport as a whole?
Yeah, well, he is like he set the standards for now a bit. He already, when he started the team, he was like 31 years old, I think. So it's amazing what he has made there. And he had Helmut Marko, the Austrian Dr. Helmut Marko, next to him as a sort of supervisor who's still there at the team. And of course, Dietrich Mateschitz had a very big role as well. Let's see what now has to do with Christian Horner, because he had a lot of interest the last couple of years from Ferrari and some other teams. So let's see if we can see him in the sport very soon back. But I think first he has to to take down a minute for now for this decision, because I think for him it is a big shock as well after so many years. But yeah, of course, his legacy in the sport and what he with a new team, I think they had quite after a few years, so quite soon they had success already. They won 4 championships in a row. Only the big difference then was after that they had some difficult years, but then they could say, okay, we had a good car, but we didn't have a good engine with Renault. And the last couple of years, the engine of Honda is quite good, but now you see they struggle with the car. So that's a big difference with them. But of course, if you see the success he had with 8 drivers championships, 6 constructors championship, yeah, that's massive. And yeah, that's I think you have to not underestimate as well that he had a big part in that success as well.